Um, it is a topic that comes up a lot, not just in coupleship, but it also comes up in recovery in general. Because when I talk about love, Amber's definition of that is one of the metaphysical source, which is it's a vibration or a frequency, not just a feeling. But I also like talking about it in reference to not just intimacy, but also love from the perspective of friendship or from the perspective of parent child or child parent, however you want to look at that. Um, I have found it in my own personal recovery very valuable for me because I know I share a lot with you guys about um, there was a point in my recovery where I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I liked or didn't like. I, I didn't have a lot of direction. And that had so much to do with my lack of identity. It had so much to do with how much I was not able to color myself in or have my own opinion or my own feelings. And so the topic to talk about tonight is looking at the difference in love and codependency, because what I did know in early recovery was I knew what I didn't want. I knew the things where I couldn't answer, Amber, what do you need? I could answer what I didn't need. Sometimes for me, like I need it. I need the visual, the reminder of, oh, yeah. it, it it's not that my body doesn't know it, but sometimes the 14 inches from my head to my heart is the part that's not connected. It's it's I want to experience my human experience through my body, but I also would like my brain to have some awareness and cognitive ability to understand what's happening. So, when we talk about the difference in love and codependency, the easiest way I find to talk about it is to create the discrepancies. And I pulled up my post. I think it was on social media or in the blog. I can't remember, but either way, I'll just show it for you guys because it just makes it a little easier to talk about. Um, when we think about love, it's hard to say, what do you need? Well, what I know I don't need is to feel like I'm being lied to, or to feel like I frequently need to question, is that manipulative? Are you telling the truth? Because a sixth sense that I developed as a trauma survivor that many trauma survivors has is intuition. And sometimes my body knows, but my brain can't figure out why. It helps me a lot as a therapist, by the way. So when I look at the things I don't need or I don't want, it's this behavior pattern. It's this, I can't quite put my finger on it, but codependency is a behavior pattern where the longer it lasts, the worse it gets, that insidious process um, that I don't notice in these little teeny steps, but when there's this exponential effect, boy, is it noticeable. Um, Codependency feels one-sided. There is typically one person in a codependent relationship that really benefits from it. Um, and in that regard, there's often this feeling of being trapped by the other person. Like I can't, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. That's the Amberism for it. Um, where I feel like I just can't do anything right. And in this codependent relationship, I realize this is a strong word. And again, this is an Amber word, but there's this sense of sacrifice. Either I'm giving up something that I believe in, that I want, that I need, or um, the relationship is causing me to give up something out here. It's either in the relationship or outside the relationship. But either way, there's a sacrifice. There should never be a sacrifice of anyone or anything in relationship. That that's that's usually where I start. And if you've done workshops with me, when I'm teaching what a relationship dynamic, when we go to what's healthy, what's typical, what's normal, when we talk about a relational dynamic, there should never be a sacrifice. I should never have to give up something to be in this relationship. And for many people, especially in coupleships, that's one that will trigger or put off a flag, because frequently there are behaviors like, well, I moved 5 states away for her, or we moved all the way out here for his job, and now I have no family and no support with the kids. Like those patterns, that behavior pattern that I mentioned under codependency, it starts showing up. The sacrifices start to become more and more obvious. When you think about the difference in codependency and love, this relationship creates a vastness. It creates this, man, could this get any better? Not all the time, like realistically. Love creates this expansiveness. It creates room and growth. Whereas in codependency, it creates this feeling of being trapped. Like, I can't do this because that'll piss her off. Shit, I can't do that because that'll make him. Like, it just feels trapped. Like, I can't, damned if I do, damned if I don't. When it is love, there is this mutual give and take where it isn't focused on one person, and one person isn't frequently benefiting. It is this reciprocity, or kind of fertile ground, like a garden, where when it's love, everyone's benefiting from it because it's creating expansion, it's creating growth. It is a frequency, it is a vibration. So it's not creating a stuckness, it's actually creating something bigger. And then with love, not of course, but sometimes I want to say, of course, there's mutual respect, honesty, and kindness. Now, we could talk about each one of these exclusively, but there's something different that happens in my body when I look at them side by side like this. And I want to give you guys just a moment. Notice that. Notice if, well, yeah, of course that's what love is. Well, yeah, that's exactly what codependency feels like. And not that I want to compare, I actually want to develop the discrepancy, which is what I'm doing in this slide. But just notice what happens in your body when you look at them in a comparison. And when you think about past relationships, it creates a different experience for me. Kind of like, well, yeah, of course there should be mutual respect. And when I think of every single relationship I had before recovery, not one of them had it. Mostly because I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't respect me. So how could I use boundaries that would require others to respect me? I showed up in a codependent way because that was the template of my family, of my home. And codependency is not just in coupleships and intimate relationships. Codependency is a relationship language. That's another Amberism. Don't Google it. It's just my definition to be able to understand this huge umbrella of what is codependency. It's my relationship language. It's how I show up with people in relationship. And although it's rooted in dishonesty, the dishonesty comes typically from good intentions. It's like doing all the wrong things for the right reasons. So let me give an example. I know this has happened in sessions with clients, and it's also a part of my backstory where when I was growing up, there was a loss in our family, and my parents thought that it would be better for us kids if we didn't know about it. Doing all the wrong things for the right reasons. We had things going on in school, we had blah, 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 we had sports, whatever. It was their opinion at that time that, well, let's just not tell the girls. When they didn't, as some 12-step programs say, they didn't play the tape all the way through. Because as soon as one of us, I have 3 sisters, as soon as one of us saw a family member or a friend, the first thing that's said to us is, "Oh, I'm so sorry." For what? We're clueless. And because in this loss, there was this building up, like he was sick, it lasted a little while, and then he passed. There was no getting used to it because he was sick. There was no identification of he might pass soon. There was no ability for us to get warm to the idea that one day this person isn't going to be here. And that doesn't always happen, of course, because there are sudden accidents and things that happen. And that wasn't the case in this one. It was our parents didn't tell us, rooted in dishonesty and control. Because now, hindsight, I believe they didn't know how. They didn't know how to address their own feelings about it, much less be able to experience us in feeling at the same time. So their intention was put it off. We'll figure it out. And it was all the wrong things for the right reasons. It's rooted in dishonesty, because what is helpful is when there is an expectation for children, when they know what's going to happen, when they can be talked to about something rather than something just boom is gone. Because what unintentionally happened from that was trauma. I have no idea what this person's talking about. I didn't even know he was gone. And I know that this happens a lot. And I want to be really careful and gentle the way I describe it, because it is the belief of some parents, like even if it's the loss of a pet, or it's just I don't know how. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to say. When it comes to feeling one-sided, I want to offer in a codependent home, the way that looks in a parent-child relationship is mom walks in the door and sits down and says, "I'm so exhausted. I can't cook dinner tonight. You guys are on your own. Who wants to play with my hair and who wants to rub my feet?" Sounds innocent, right? What makes it codependency is there's a pattern. It's not reciprocated, and it becomes more one-sided about one person. And I can tell you exactly why. That's something my mom said. I can tell you exactly why she said that. Because she's working 16-hour days on very little sleep and raising 4 kids with an absent husband who's also an alcoholic. Of course she's fucking exhausted. She's in survivor mode. And I just want to offer the example that this is not about blame and fault. This is about fact. And what makes it codependency is that it is a pattern. It is a behavior. For so many of us, this is how we're raised. Like for so many of us, some of these actions were seen as nothing's wrong with that. Or I didn't mean it that way. It's just a joke. Or kids need to grow up. They need to have some adult responsibilities. Well, more than one thing can be true at the same time. So when we look at codependency and we look at love, what we notice is this is an Amberism. This is how I teach it. Codependency is very much like a stress response. Codependency is meant to create stabilization. It is not meant to be long-term. And what that means is when there is a loss of a job, a medical diagnosis, a loss of a family member, when there is something that shifts a family so much that it creates a loss, codependency is the superpower that comes in and tries to stabilize everything. It's the baby mobile where the big sister steps in to help mom because dad's gone. And the little sister steps in to help with little brother because little sister's cooking dinner. All of it, it's not bad or wrong. The intention is stabilization. What makes it dysfunctional is when it's not repaired. Remember that definition? What makes trauma generational, what makes death by 1,000 paper cuts is that there's no repair. There isn't a parent figure that is emotionally available, that when trauma happens, they come in with love, mutual respect, and honesty and says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I cannot believe I forgot that. You must be so upset. There's no repair. And with parents who are in their own survival, are not thriving, that's how codependency gets passed down. That's how it's generational. It's not about blame and fault. It's just about fact that when we don't get the opportunity of health and wellness, and some of our family members didn't or haven't, it creates this big discrepancy in what I can offer. What I want to give is love, but in fact, what I'm offering is codependency because my body is so dysregulated. The only thing I can offer is an attempt to control everything outside of me, which is codependency. It's by definition a control addict. I want to control how you receive things. I want to control how you feel about something. I want to say it in a way so you'll receive it better. And I want to give you this punishment as a mom to a child so that you don't rip the door off the hinges when I take away Fortnite. None of those are possible, right? It's our attempt to try to control outside of me because inside of me is so out of control. And the way that we get to a state of love and step away from that state of codependency doesn't happen between me and another person. It's me and me. It brings me back to as much as I love me is the amount of love I will be able to receive from you. So if I love me this much, doesn't matter if you're giving me a gallon, this is the capacity for how much I can receive. So when I spend the rest of my life going, none of my friends do for me what I do for them. I wish my partner loved me the way I loved them. By the way, I'm saying things that I've literally said. Like, I'm not making this up. These are Amber's words. It is this distortion because no one ever taught me what love was. No one ever taught me that I got to love me before I can love someone else. I got to respect me before I can respect someone else. And the way I show up in relationship with others is a reflection of how I show up in relationship with me. So I hope this was helpful. I was trying to give examples of different relationships, but my hope is that you could take away how this shows up in parent-child, how this shows up in friendship, how this shows up in partner or spouse. And believe it or not, I even self-diagnosed me as being codependent with my inner child. Yes, that is a thing. But it's also a really beautiful awareness when I figure out what codependency is, because then I can pick up on where it is. Because I work with some couples that have codependency with their pets, and that's a real thing too.